I had a full scholarship to pursue my master's degree in Hungary. And in this video, I'll be sharing with you which was the scholarship that granted me that, the process that I had to follow, as well as the requirements that you need to obtain in order for you to be able to apply and actually get this full-time scholarship. Firstly, let me explain to you that I did it through the Stipendium Hungaricum Scholarship, which is a pretty generous one. They pay you the whole university fees, including tuition fees or anything related to your education there. And they are also giving you 110 euros for you to actually survive there once you arrive. And if you want, they pay you the room where you'll be living. So, disclaimer, it is at a student dorm, and in some universities, you'll be sharing a room with someone else. So, for you to consider that. The Stipendium Hungaricum is a scholarship that follows a pretty straightforward process. It's not easy, but it is simple. It's not complicated to apply. You just have to create an account at their portal, which I'll be sharing the link in the video, and then upload all the documentation that you have. Now, it was simple for me because you need to know that prior to all this, I have been looking for a scholarship for more than 4 years. And for instance, I already had my passport since 2018. I also had my transcripts that I got them at the end of 2022. I also had the TOEFL done in May 2023, as well as my degree translated from the Spanish language, which is my homeland main language, to the English language in June of that year as well. So I had collected all the documentation prior to get that full scholarship. Now, the process itself, it consists of you basically sending all this documentation that I mentioned you. Also, having your resume done. I made sure that I include all the work experience that I had, as well as any volunteering and my level in different languages. By that moment, I had the opportunity to learn French and German in my home country. And I also certified those languages through language certificates. So I had made sure to collect all the documentation necessary. Now, here comes the most important document, which is the motivation letter. Now, in this case, the motivation letter is different because the process consists in you applying to 2 universities of your selection through the different catalog. I invite you to search, to browse on that website, which are the opportunities that Hungary offers you, and choose based on that option catalog that you have. In my case, I decided to choose management and leadership at 2 universities. One was at the Budapest University of Technology and Economics, and the other one was, it was a Master of Science at the University of Pécs. The former was a Master of Arts, and I chose the Budapest one as my first option. I was able to apply to the 2 of them, and in that motivation letter, I believe 2 things that helped me increase my chances was basically connecting my former history to what I wanted to achieve in Hungary. And I made sure I did my research prior to send that motivation letter of what each university offers, and Hungary itself. I remember I even mentioned a networking program that Budapest offered, as well as a language academy there for you to learn the Hungarian language. So that made the selection committee realized that I did my research and that my motivation letter wasn't a generic one and that it was specific to that program. When it comes to the reason why I chose the programs, I made sure that I added some professors that could work as my thesis supervisors, as well as some classes that are included in each of the programs that I chose. And that was the second advice that I can give you, that it helped me a lot. I made sure that it was, again, specific and not generic. Once I sent that application, I also had to send a health exam my medical history record, but I didn't have at that moment. With that being said, the portal allows you to upload it after you've done all your process. The second step was that each of the universities decided to interview me. So I sent my application in December 15th. It opens at the end of each year. The application the application period is at the end of each year. So on December 15th, I submitted my documentation with my application. And on March 28th, I got my first interview with the PEX University. It was very fluid. I did it through Google Meet. Pretty fast forward. The questions were easy to answer. Who am I? Why am I interested in that university? How do I overcome challenges and difficulties? So they want to know who you are. It's very short. It was just like 10 minutes. And they gave me a response 4 days later and they accepted me. Now here comes the thing. You you can get accepted at the universities, but don't not get actually the scholarship. Right? So I was still waiting for the official response. And then on April 3rd, to the Budapest one, which was my main university, I had to also do an exam. It was related to economy and math. A very technique exam. Wasn't easy, but somehow I got an okay grade and I was able to pass it. And with that, they decided to pursue and interview me as well. So the Budapest University interviewed me on April 29th. By the way, this is of 2025, last year, as I'm recording this video. The process was a bit slower. Remember that capital cities like Budapest tend to have more applicants. So please consider that. And then on April 29th, they gave me the news after I was interviewed on April 15th, so 2 weeks later, that I was also accepted at this university. In Budapest, I remember they asked me a very specific question during the interview where they asked me why did I decide to study even though I finished my bachelor's degree 6 years after. It was a very tricky one. To what I responded that I already got the work experience that I was looking after I finished my bachelor's degree, and that now that I felt ready to enrich my mind, my brain with more knowledge, and hence why I was looking to pursue this master's degree. I did that. I had to wait for a month and a half for me to finally receive an official acceptance for the scholarship itself. Not the universities, but this time I was awarded the scholarship. And that's how I got it. And I want to give you a small disclaimer because I've done videos in the past of that I'm actually studying in France. I decided to reject this Stipendium Hungaricum Scholarship. And the reason was that I felt like the French scholarship got me better benefits. I was going to have more stability. It was more generous than this Hungarian one, even though this one's okay. Like I said, the stipend amount wasn't enough for me to consider it a full scholarship. Although they call it a full scholarship. But if you want my personal advice, as I've already done a video in the past where I gave you some tips about when applying to scholarships, is for you to take risk. And if I did not got the French scholarship, I would definitely accept this one. And I would actually be right now in Hungary, because I believe I'm someone who strongly thinks that human beings should take risks and go for it.